At Drew, Charlotte, and Angelica's house, Stu's preparing the projector for the home movies of the Pickles trip to the Grand Canyon. The film opens with Dee Dee packing for their trip, followed by shots of Stu goofing around with the camera in the shower, and finally the Pickles' departure, including Stu driving off without the camera. The adults are all getting bored as the babies wonder what home movies are. Will thinks it's when one moves into a new home. Phil thinks it's when one rearranges furniture at a home, and Chucky thinks it's when one's house starts moving as though it's alive. But Angelica explains that home movies are like TV, except nobody really wants to watch them. The kids go up to Angelica's room so she can start her own home movies. Angelica gets Drew's office paper so she can start her show. She shows off all her pictures she drew with her crayons of her house, her cat Fluffy, her doll Cynthia, and herself with her dress, shoes, and crown. Tommy interrupts saying Angelica doesn't have a crown. Angelica tells him to be quiet and continues her home movies. Every day she wakes up to the great day and asks her daddy, who is small in her home movies, about a third of her height, to bring her breakfast, which include ice cream, cake, and lots of syrup over everything. Chucky interrupts, saying he's been over to her house for breakfast and she doesn't eat any of that stuff. Angelica tells him, be quiet, and continues. Her mommy comes in and calls Jonathan on her cell phone and asks him to send lots of money so she can buy lots of toys for Angelica. Then she buys toys for Angelica and her dad keeps bringing food. Angelica keeps eating until soon she's big enough to stomp out on the babies. Chucky stops the show, scared. The babies tell Angelica that it's not how things really are. She's not that big, her dad's not that small, and the sky's not orange, which Chucky adds. Angelica suggests Chucky shows his own home movies. He does, grabbing a chalkboard and coloring in the sky and ground for the beginning of his show. He draws himself and his dad walking over to Tommy's house. Tommy is portrayed as a superhero, and he and Chucky play all day, find monsters in the sandbox and ghosts in the closet. Tommy also brings Chucky snacks. Angelica thinks that Chucky's home movies are dumb, but superhero Tommy says that they were the best home movies he's ever seen. Angelica suggests Tommy show some of his home movies too. Tommy draws a red scribble of himself, a purple scribble of his mom, a blue scribble of Tommy draws a red scribble of himself, a purple scribble of his mom, a blue scribble of his dad, a yellow circle for their house. Tommy begins. Every day, Spike wakes Tommy up and Tommy rides downstairs with Spike. At the bottom, Tommy crawls around the house while his mom brings him some mush to eat for breakfast. Afterwards, his friends comes over to play. Sometimes they get the cookies off the kitchen counter and ride the wagon off the stairs. Angelica butts into Tommy's home movies with her drawing and begins to stomp on the babies. Chucky salutes this problem with his illustrations of himself and Tommy to stop Angelica. Dee Dee and Betty come into Angelica's room, asking what's going on. It was intermission time for their home movies downstairs. Just then they notice the drawings the kids have made. Back downstairs, the drawings amaze the grown-ups, keeping their minds off the home movies. Drew's very impressed with Angelica's drawing until he realizes she drew it on the Baxter account. Stu attempts to end intermission time but notices the drawings, saying how really good they are. At Stu's workshop, he creates a toy, an opening similar to Frankenstein's monster. The toys are a robotic clown with red hair, a blue nose, a yellow jumpsuit, a fully articulated limbs, heat motion sensors, and a voice chip containing 217 differently randomly accessed phrases inside its mouth. Dee Dee comes downstairs after hearing Stu say, "It's alive!" to see what he's invented this time. Stu introduces the toy as Mr. Friend to Dee Dee. After hearing one of Mr. Friend's rhyming phrases, she thinks that Mr. Friend's phrases could be much better written. Stu takes Mr. Friend upstairs to show Tommy. The baby in question is playing with his jack-in-the-box, with Chucky worried that the scary clown will pop out again, and Tommy trying to convince him something different might happen. Stu comes in and shows Mr. Friend to the babies. While waiting for them to play with the toy, he hears the phone ring and goes to the kitchen. Reason that Tommy and Chucky didn't play with Mr. Friend right away because they didn't know him well enough, so they introduce themselves to the toy. Tommy presses the heart-shaped button on its chest, and after hearing Mr. Friend say one of his rhyming phrases, Tommy and Chucky run away from him. However, the toy suddenly turns off and falls over. Tommy and Chucky think Mr. Friend's broken, but the toy moves again, scaring them more. After failing a second time, Mr. Friend's batteries come loose out of the compartment on his back. Tommy and Chucky cry, getting Stu and Dee Dee's attention. Stu puts the batteries back inside Mr. Friend, causing him to recite one of his phrases. Dee Dee convinced Stu to hire a writer to come up with some new lines. Stu mentions he'll take Mr. Friend downstairs to fix the cover over the battery compartment and mutters there might be other bugs trying her out. Tommy and Chucky gasp out bugs, believing Mr. Friend to contain literal bugs. After Stu takes Mr. Friend into the workshop to work on the toy, Chucky believes they've seen the last of Mr. Fiend, but Tommy isn't so sure. That night, Stu gives a sleeping Tommy Mr. Friend. Tommy unknowingly turns Mr. Friend on, causing him to say one of his lines while malfunctioning, which makes Tommy cry. Dee Dee comes in Tommy's room and carries him to the kitchen, thinking he needs a bottle. The next day, Phil and Lil come over. The DeVille twins think Mr. Friend sounds funny rather than scary. Tommy explains that Mr. Friend talks all night and smells like burning rubber bands and is full of literal bugs. This delights Phil and Lil, and they tug of war over the toy. Mr. Friend gives advice for playing fair and sharing, and accidentally scares Phil and Lil after his head spins and he falls on the background grass. Tommy says that Mr. Friend would be put someplace else where the toy won't come back. They put Mr. Friend in the clothes chute, unaware it led to Stu's workshop. At said workshop, Dee Dee is about to put some clothes in the washer, unaware that Mr. Friend is in the basket. Stu is busy making more Mr. Friend dolls, saying he isn't selling out to any huge greedy toy manufacturing monolith yet. Dee Dee starts to put the first of the dirty clothes in the washer, and Mr. Friend pops up humming London Bridge. Dee Dee urges Stu to hire a writer and puts it back outside when she comes upstairs. Chucky says that Mr. Friend is just a dumb old doll while playing with Tommy's ball, knowingly turning Mr. Friend back on. Toy once again hums London Bridge, this time malfunctioning, scaring the babies to the corner of the fence. Phil sacrifices Lil's doll, Rhonda Rags, by throwing her at Mr. Friend, which turns him off. Much to Lil's relief, Rhonda survived the encounter because, as Tommy says, Mr. Friend wouldn't hurt another doll, and Tommy retrieves the doll for Lil. Chucky, who has seen Kring Krong, thinks of an idea to get rid of Mr. Friend for good. Push him off the entire state building. Tommy says it's a perfect idea, only they're going to bury Mr. Friend instead. The babies bury it behind the bushes and even hold a funeral for it. Back at the workshop, Stu tries out the Mr. Friend dolls recently made, at least 10 altogether, only to be surprised when they malfunction and bump into each other. This prompts Stu to turn them off, realizing there are still a few kinks to work out. After Stu goes upstairs to take a break, another Mr. Friend doll comes out from behind the water heater, saying advice to look both ways when crossing the street. He turns on another Mr. Friend doll, and both dolls begin to turn the rest on. Back at the backyard, the Mr. Friend the baby's buried said the worms are dirty and are full of yucky germs. This prompts Spike to dig him out, but he yelps after Mr. Friend says a different phrase and malfunctions. The babies are playing but notice Mr. Friend and prepare to run away from him. Chucky says that Mr. Friend is going to be with them for a very, very long time. Tommy then says that they can't spend the rest of their lives running away from a dumb old doll, because they wouldn't have time to do anything else. The babies push aside a loose board in the fence, not the one to the DeVille's backyard, and shove Mr. Friend out onto the sidewalk, where he wanders into the street. Meanwhile, the new batch of Mr. Friend dolls climb up a pile of books, open the workshop window, and go out to the backyard. This prompts the babies to fight off the dolls at Tommy's urging after they no longer have any other options left. After rolling balls, ramming a toy vacuum, and kicking them, dolls are finally broken. Stu and Dee Dee go into the backyard, only to be horrified that the Mr. Friend dolls are all broken. Dee Dee says to Stu that maybe the world just isn't ready for Mr. Friend, and encourages him to think of a better new toy. The babies are happy until Angelica comes over, showing them the Mr. Friend doll the babies got rid of earlier. The babies run away, screaming in terror, leaving Angelica utterly confused. However, she still thinks he's a neat toy.